Bright Tuty. Every student matters.
Hello everyone. So in the last aspect or in the last topic of your understanding media chapter, we talk about advertisements and consumerism. We do all know about advertisements. We do watch a lot of advertisements in television. We do hear them in radios. We do watch them while we are using internet. So we are aware about the concept of advertisements in general. And also consumerism, because we are in a way consumers. So what all do we have as rights in respects of being consumers, and how are to be treated, how difficult at times or how challenging at times it is to deal with the consumers is what all we are going to talk about. So starting with the concept of advertisements. So advertising refers to the promotion of goods, companies, services and ideas through a medium. So in a way, what are you doing? You are promoting. That's how you see, and that's why you see so many advertisements, right? Big corporate companies allot large amount of funds for their advertisements. So the main point is, okay, imagine that Parle-G would have made the biscuits Parle-G, but then not advertised about it. How will people hence get to know about it? The more you advertise about things and the more you relate to the life of the people while advertising and make people realize that this is the product that they need is the major aspect of advertisement. And hence all the big companies do allot a large amount of funds for their advertisements. If the people will get to know about their product is only when they will buy their product. Now, talking about advertisements are done for several reasons. What are the reasons behind advertisements? Why do we advertise? The first thing is to introduce the new product in the market. I have an idea and I have launched a new product in the market. How will people get to know about it? So if I want to introduce that product in the market, that is when I will use advertisements. Secondly, to create and sustain a brand identity or a brand image. I want to have that brand identity. I want the toothpaste to be known by the name of Colgate or by the name of Pepsodent. I want the biscuits to be known by the name Parle-G. So that is how important, or that is how strong these companies have built up their brand identity and brand image. So that is what I want to do. I want to create that image and I want to sustain as in survive, or as in maintain rather. Maintain that image is what is advertisements useful for. Then next, to introduce the feature of new products. We have launched a new iPhone. How will you get to know about the features of a new iPhone? You will get to know about it by the advertisements. You will see those advertisements and you will get to know about that. So the features of the new products is something that you get to know from there. Also, to create new customers and increasing the brand recognition. I got to know about, I got to know about Kia or as a company, or for that matter, I got to know about Maruti as a company when I was a child. But and I was as a child in no position to take that car. But now that I've grown up and I have money to get that car, to buy that car and have the acquisition of that car, I would have to be aware about it. How will I be aware? Through frequent advertisements, I will get to know about the company. I will go have research on that company, and I will see how well have they established their brand value, their brand recognition, and hence I will be a new customer. So if they want to create new customers and increase the brand recognition, that is when the advertisement plays a very, very important role. Now you would ask, how are all these advertisements done? So what are the major ways of advertising? How do we advertise? They are in the form of radio and television, short clips during the films that you see, the breaks that you have during your movies or during your films, that those breaks have advertisements in there. So those are the ones which fit in newspapers and magazines. You see advertisements, hoardings and billboards. You see advertisements on the roads. Posters, banners, sponsoring programs, etc. are all the ways of advertising. Now coming to what are the ways of advertising? How do you, or rather, what are the types of advertising? So coming to the question of types of advertising. So for local produced products, advertising can be very simple and localized. Whereas for multinational companies, to launch their new product, it involves more complexities. So if there is some local product, it is easy and local for them. It is simple and localized for them to produce or to have that product. But if it is a multinational company, to launch their product involves a lot of complexities. I will not be able to come up with one kind of information which will be relatable to all the nationalities. I will not be able to come up, let's say iPhone comes with their advertisement, which is in some language that Indians are not really able to understand, which is in, and also, it is in some kind of a setup that Indians are not really imagined to have the use of their iPhone in those setups. What do you think people in India will buy iPhones? No, because they will not be able to relate to the product. And hence for the multinational companies, the launch of the new product involves a lot of complexities. So here comes the complex of the concept of the commercial advertisements. There are two advertisements. One is the commercial advertisement, and hence the second one is the social advertisements. There are more forms as well wherein you talk about the political advertisements. So first we talk about the concept of commercial advertisements. So the commercial advertisements that convey the availability of a product or provide information about the product are the commercial advertisements. What are these? When you get to know that there is so and so product available with so and so specifications, such and such information, usage, everything, that is the commercial advertisement. What is the main purpose behind this? The demand of the product. I want my product to be consumed. Talking about very small things that you people might be consuming, your Horlicks, Bournvita, fruity, cold drinks, or for that matter, all these oats and cornflakes, all of these things are being shown to you, are being commercialized to increase the demand of the product. Now, the advertisement should be effective, as it helps in increasing the demand of the product. Like I said, if you are able to relate to it, if it is able to influence you to try it out, a lot of times, just because we see that there's a small tiny toy available in the packet of Kinder Joy, we do want to have that, and hence it is the demand of the product is increasing. So it has to be effective enough to grab the attention of the customer or the consumer. Commercial advertisements are done through newspapers, magazines, radio, televisions, channels, web banners, sides of public vehicles like buses, trains, taxis, tickets, etc. However, some big companies sponsor dancing shows. You must be knowing about such dancing and talent shows. You have a lot of singing shows that are being sponsored by such products. Such companies which have certain commercial products. You have, music programs. You have large-scale sports events like soccer as well as Commonwealth, Olympics. All of these which are being sponsored by the companies just to advertise themselves, and hence becomes a part of the commercial advertisement. Moving ahead is the concept of the social advertisement or the social advertising. So the social advertising, the advertising techniques used to promote commercial goods and services, can also be used to inform, educate and motivate the public. While you are trying to promote commercial goods and services also, and educate, inform and motivate people to be a part of it or to use it, is known as the social advertisement. Let's see an example of this and you'll be able to understand it in a much better way. Advertising is used to highlight the importance of hygiene, health, energy, conservatives and afforestation. Something like, you have a motto, you have an aim behind, other than selling your product, you have an aim, a social aim behind it. Importance of hygiene, health, energy conservation, afforestation and so on. Moving ahead, let us understand it in a much better way. Such advertisements are known as social advertisements. Example, the Pulse Polio campaign by the government, which was made successful by the help of or with the help of media. Now, the Pulse Polio program is not just to increase the consumption of the polio drops, but because of the health related issues as well. So when you add an aspect of service and social and society to a cause, that is when it becomes a socializing advertisement. Moving ahead, they say that advertisements helped in spreading the information regarding the vaccines, and as a result, it was being seen as an increased and a successful program. Now, WHO gave India a status of polio-free status, or a status which was a polio-free nation or a country. Herein, you're trying to acquire certain things by informing people, by giving that information, by making them understand the importance of one of the social aspect involved, and hence becomes a socializing advertisement. Moving to the next concept of political advertisements. Now, political advertising is that during election campaigns, candidates from different political parties take the help of advertising such as newspaper, posters, wall writings, television, radio, etc. for advertising about their political party. So you are just advertising about your political party. They communicate the political issues to the public. They communicate what all will they be taking care of in the public and promote their ideas and policies through advertisements. Media is the most effective form of communication because it reaches to masses under that one aspect or umbrella. So people, for here the political purposes, they are promoting their political ideas, they are promoting policies, they are promoting, what all their political agendas will be, how will the people will be able to benefit from there and their political leaders. A free and independent media is a reflection of progress that we have talked about before also, which is supposed to be unbiased, which is supposed to be realistic. Any country cannot function effectively without media, because media plays a role of being the fourth pillar of democracy, wherein they play a very, very major role in sustaining the government, in helping the government, in helping the people collaboratively take the actions, collaboratively take the best action possible for the functioning of the nation. And all of this comes under the aspect of political advertising. Coming to the next advertisement, or what are the regulations of advertisements? It's not that anything and everything that you want to be advertised and that you want to show in public will be there. So there ought to be certain regulations for advertising as well. Starting with, advertising also encourages consumerism. So the more you advertise, it is said that the more is the increase seen in the consumers. So the need to consume more and more products regardless of the need is called consumerism. When you do not actually have the need of having the Kinder Joy, but because of seeing that advertisement, you want to have, you want to consume, that is known as consumerism, wherein you do not have actual need, but just because of the influence, you develop that need, is known as consumerism. It makes people forget the reality and fall prey to the positive and the negative sides of advertising. We should always check and find out more about the product before we buy it. Just for that small toy, if you want to buy that product without even knowing how much it costs, or how good or bad it is for your health, how much of sugar intake will you be having, all of these aspects, without checking on that, you just buy that product. That is how you fall prey for the company's advertising skills, and hence become a part of the consumerism. That is what are the aspects of consumerism. Now, there are basic rules and regulations for advertisements. What are these? It should not contain any derogatory references to another product. You should not be comparing it directly to any other product. You should not be defaming any other product. Also, in case of commercials, or in case of commercial advertisements, it is seen that the information being given to the consumers should be correct and valuable on the matters of weight, price, quality of the product, etc. So basically, it should actually have the concept, or it should actually have the exact information on the weight, size, quality of the product and everything. We missed on one slide, and which is the first and the very important thing. It should not be against the morality, decency and any religious faith of the people. You should not be mocking at any nationality, any caste, any culture, any ethnicity, any religion in your advertisements. It should be in conformity with the laws of the country. Whatever you should be doing should be done within the following of the laws of your country. Moving ahead, to protect the interest of consumers, our government enacted the law called the Consumer Protection Act in the year 1986. Now, what is this act? This act provides protection to the consumer's interest through consumer courts at district, state and national levels. It actually provides consumers with a lot of ideas, with a lot of rights that they can have under their entitlement, or under their title of being a consumer. And hence there are consumer courts which are there at district, state and national levels. We have around 500 district consumer courts in India. It is not something which is not a very common perspective. It is pretty common, and you can see that with the number of consumer courts that you have at the district level itself. Also, being aware of the rights of the consumer is very, very important. What are the rights that you have as a consumer? So here are your rights. Right to safety. You have complete right for your safety while you are consuming or while you are buying any product. Right to be informed. Have the right to be informed about the exact ingredients, the weight, the quality, the price, the expiry, the manufacturing, everything. Right to choice. I can't come and tell you, oh, please buy the chips that my company is selling. Oh, please, those chips are not really great. You should have the right of choice. You should have the right to choose from what all you are seeing around you. Right to be heard. Whenever there is something that is going wrong, you should have the right to be heard. If I want to complain about something, I have the right to be heard. You are accountable as a company to listen to what am I saying. Right to seek redressal. I have this right to actually claim that, this is something that my problem is, and this is something that you have to seek and you have to act upon. That is how consumers can be protected only when they are aware of their rights and also their responsibilities and act accordingly. Coming to the aspect or coming to the end of the chapter with the assignment questions. Give reasons for advertising. We gave you enough reasons for advertising in the chapter when we were discussing. Now, herein you have reasons in the form of introduction of introducing a new product. Then you have it, to maintain your brand value or maintain your brand image or identity. You have it to introduce some of the new features, of your product, and also to create new customers. So all of these are the reasons for your advertising. With the help of an example, explain social advertising. With the help of the polio drops campaign, you may please explain what is social advertising. Moving ahead, discuss why media needs to function independently. We have discussed about it before as well. Media needs to function independently so that it is able to provide the unbiased information to the citizens to make their opinion upon, and also are not hiding upon any information available. What are the regulations of advertising? We have just talked about the regulations of advertising, wherein it should be, it should not be against the morality, decency. It should not be against any religious faith. It should not be defaming any other product. It should be having the conformity with the laws of the country. It should not contain any derogatory in reference as well. And in case of commercials, it should provide us all the information that the consumer may want to have. All of this is what describes the concept of advertising and consumers. The whole chapter is actually summarizing, and the whole chapter, if I want to summarize it, it talks about media first. What is media? It moves on to social media. It moves on to mass media. The two types, majorly talking about the print media and the electronic media, which has what pros and which has what cons is what they have discussed about. Coming to the cons, also talking about the RTI, that is is the right to information, talking about how Aruna Roy and the MKSS played a very important role. Which state did got it first? It was Rajasthan in the year 2000. When was it centrally taken into consideration? It was taken centrally into consideration in 2005. So all of these aspects, moving on to the concept of consumerism and advertising. How does advertising influence consumers and lead to the aspect of consumerism, wherein you do not actually have the need of that particular product, but you develop the need of that particular product, is what consumerism has. What are the rules and the regulations under consumerism? What are the basic laws? What are the provisions? What are the regulations of advertising? All of these concepts being talked about in this chapter. I hope this chapter was interesting enough for you to understand and to relate to the concept of media and your lives, because when we study about the social sciences, it is all about relating it to your lives, and hence it will be easy for you to understand it, and once you understand it, you will always remember it here and you would not have to mug up the answers. I hope you were able to understand and answer all the questions that were being asked towards the end.